Hey, what's going on, everyone? Well, I've had my M64 for about 9 days, and it has been not the best. So let's get started. It's a good machine, but it needs work. I don't have sound half the time when I play this thing. I reached out to Modretro the first day I had it, and they assured me that they're going to release a future firmware update to fix that. Apparently, there's some kind of HDMI issue with certain TVs and receivers, and they're not communicating with each other, and it's causing issues with, I guess they call it like a handshake method or EDID, and basically they're just not talking to each other. So sometimes I do get sound, sometimes I don't get sound. So that's a knock on this thing. It can be fixed according to Modretro. So firmware, future update, cool. I can confirm I've had issues with my Sony TV and my Yamaha receiver. So I'm waiting for that to be fixed. I have not had that issue with any of my other game consoles, HDMI adapters, or my Analog 3D. So as long as it be fixed, we're cool. Next thing is not every game I own is compatible with this thing day one. And when I say every game I own, I'm talking about like official games you could have bought in the store when they were in the production run. So San Francisco Rush 2049, one of my favorite racing games, I cannot play on this thing. It'll show the title screen and then it freezes. To be fair, Modretro has a page on their website, and it tells you what games are currently compatible, not compatible, or may experience issues. So they are upfront with you. It's not like they're hiding it. So I do applaud them for being upfront and honest about that. And again, that should be fixed over time with a firmware update. So that's good. Other games, like Perfect Dark, it's on that list of having some slowdowns. That game was probably one of the most demanding games on the 64. In my opinion, it definitely was one of the best graphical looking games for sure. So, they'll probably get it fixed. Anyway, other issues I've had with this thing is I have the official Modretro controller. This thing feels amazing. I like the build quality. This thing is solid. I've had issues where I turn it on and I have to resync it. So I will have to go into the machine, use this knob, go to pair controller, and repair it. And then it works just fine. But I could literally turn it off, switch games, turn it back on, and have to repair it. Hoping that's a future update between the machine or the controller. Some point they'll fix that. I don't know which one needs the update, but somewhere it needs it. But otherwise, good build quality. Like I said, probably a future update. What I really like about this controller right now is I can use the built-in rechargeable battery, or I can use, basically this comes out and you can put in AA batteries. I like having the choice of rechargeable or AA's. That way, eventually when this fails, because it will, because the rechargeable batteries always do, if for some reason they don't make this anymore or I can't get a replacement, I can throw AA's in there and move on. It's Type C. Great. I like that the cable it comes with is Type C to this 64 connector, so you can use this on a real Nintendo 64 using that Type C cable. The issue with this is it does not rumble right now. With this, it did not ship with rumble. It has the rumble built in, but it does not rumble with the wireless, and it does not rumble with the wire. I have tried it with Star Fox. I tried it with a few other games, and then I immediately tried it on my real 64, and it worked just fine. I did it wired and wireless using its cable. It would not rumble. Don't know why that wasn't ready at launch. Don't know why it won't work with a wire, but it just won't. This won't work on my analog, and this will not work on my Switch. They don't advertise it to, so I didn't buy it expecting it to do that. It'd be cool down the road if it will. I want to say you can buy a Bluetooth adapter and use it on Switch that way, but again, I didn't buy it to use it on my Switch. But when I do play with it, controller feels great. It's a good controller, needs a few updates. Back to this. Games, for the most part, play good. There's a lot of overclock options. I like to play games overclocked, and the reason why is a lot of the 64 games, I'm sure you remember, would have slowdowns. GoldenEye multiplayer had slowdowns. Star Fox, depending on what you were doing, could have slowdowns. A lot of racing games could have slowdowns. Playing a game with an expansion pack, those would have slowdowns. Having the ability to overclock your game and give it more power, essentially, whether it be with the CPU or the GPU, at least that's the way Analog describes it, can make your game look and run better by having more power. And I don't mean like giving it more, like actual like power. It's more like giving it more speed with the CPU and basically more graphics performance, overclocking the graphics and processing. That's basically what it does. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know exactly how it works or how they tune it, but it does make a difference. I absolutely love that there is a menu dial on this, because on like the Analog, you have to hit a menu button on the controller if you're using the 8BitDo controller, and on this one I can just click that, so it is nice to have an option. The build quality on this is actually really nice. When they first showed this, just like everyone else, I thought it was a toy. It looked kind of cheap from the first initial pictures, but it really grew on me. And it does not feel cheap. Like, it feels solid in the hand. I like it, and it's good. I think the games overall play pretty good on it. I think they look good on it. I think my biggest gripe with this machine out of the gate at launch, besides the fact my controller doesn't rumble, because I'm kind of expecting that since I've been playing Star Fox since 1997, I don't think the image quality on this is that good right now. Again, they can definitely fix that with a firmware update. I definitely believe the power is in this machine to do it. But right now, it doesn't look that good. And you have plenty of options on this machine to fine-tune it how you like. Now, you can definitely do the CRT filter, you can stretch the image, you can do lots of different things, anti-aliasing. There's a lot of different options. Like, it's not like they don't give you the options to make the game look better to the way your eye likes the way the game to look. But, like, if you're just going for, like, a raw, like, image on your screen without, touching it, or just trying to get it as clean as possible, I'm going to be honest, I think using the Eon HDMI adapter with that button on the side that, like, cleans up the image, I think that looks better on my real Nintendo 64 than this at this current state. Especially if you use that with an M Classic. So my real 64 looks better. This one performs better. So it's kind of like I can have a better looking experience, or I can have the modern features and frame rate. So wireless controllers, Wi-Fi, which is slow, I'll get to that. Or I can have a better looking screen and wire controllers. And I'm not saying these things to pick on the M64. I'm saying all this because I have to look at this as it is right now, because there is another option out there. It's the Analog 3D. This is out here right now. You can buy this, and as of today, this is a better Nintendo 64. Your games look better. They do run better. The overclocking on this thing is superior. And by every comparison I have done between these two machines, the Analog by far is the better Nintendo 64. Like, there's no question about it. Every single game I have thrown at it, everything from Super Mario 64 all the way to Perfect Dark, Donkey Kong, Doom, Conquer, you name it, the analog just creams it in every category. Now, this came out, what, last November? This came out now. So I got mine 9 days ago. This was not perfect when it came out. It still doesn't have the advertised Wi-Fi that Analog said it would have. What, 2 years ago now? This had Wi-Fi day one, so at least it had Wi-Fi. This had Rumble. I'll take the Rumble over Wi-Fi. I'm just saying. They're both good machines. The M64 is a little cheaper right now. I think the M64 or Modretro in general has been more transparent on a lot of things, and I do really like that they have a roadmap of what they're doing, what they plan to do. They have stated like they're going to add wireless Rumble and some other options. Can't remember off the top of my head. It's on their website, but they are gonna improve this, and this could be a whole different conversation in 2, 3, 4, 6 months from now. But as it currently stands, this is not the better Nintendo 64, and I've seen lots of reviewers online say this is the best Nintendo 64 you can buy, and I just don't get it. I love the 64. It's my favorite system of all time. And, in my opinion, the best way to play 64 is a recomp decomp. And then the next best way to play it, it really depends. You can play on real hardware, which is the real machine, or Switch Online, which is convenient. And it does look good. There's some compromises. We could argue all day about software emulation versus hardware, but I'm not going to do that right now because there's pros and cons to each. But first day I got this, I did the So let's talk about the Wi-Fi. I did the Wi-Fi update. This would only see my 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network. Okay, not a big deal. We're not online gaming on this, to my knowledge. I mean, it'd be cool if they do that like Nintendo does, but to my knowledge, we're not Wi-Fi gaming. So I did the Wi-Fi update. It took forever. Like, I was like really wondering, I have a Sony OLED. I was like, is this going to burn in my screen? Because that's how long it took. Versus the analog, I can't update this over Wi-Fi, but I can take the SD card out, walk over to my computer, plug it in, download the update, walk back, turn it on, and it's going to update way quicker than the whole process was to do the Wi-Fi update. So, there's that. Let's see, what else can I say about the M64? I don't want this to come off like I think it's a bad system, because it's not. It plays games good. It will be a better machine months from now. The way it is now, it is not the best Nintendo 64. It's definitely going to be in between the real 64 and the analog. I really do think my real 64 looks better than the Modretro. The M64 on my TV. Now, could be several factors on that. I'm using an Eon 64 HDMI adapter, and I have that button on there that makes it look better. That's one step to make the picture look better. I also have an M Classic that also helps to increase the picture. I'm using a Sony OLED, and that thing has phenomenal processing for lower resolution content. That makes the picture look better. This thing has no sound, so I can't even hear the games half the time. So, there's that. This thing, honestly, has been perfect. like I really, only thing I could say is like it's just gotten better. Like the picture quality, like when I first got it, I would say it was better than my 64, but it's improved, especially with the latest what progressive update and horizontal resolution update. Like that is amazing, and you know I like that Modretro designed their own controller. This thing is solid. Um, Obviously, with this one, Analog didn't design this one. They worked with 8BitDo, and they just basically took one of their generic designs that they use for like their Xbox or PlayStation controllers that they use for this, and then instead of having the other joystick over here and doing the ABXY, they just made a 64 controller out of it. The build quality on this is obviously not as good as the Modretro, but this is not a bad controller by any means. It's very comfortable, and I'm not gonna knock it. I like it. This works on my Switch, and it recognizes it as a 64 controller. So if you don't want to, shell out, what do these cost? 50, $60 from Nintendo for a Switch Online controller. You can buy one of these and use it on your analog and your Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, and it recognizes this as a 64 controller. You just got to toggle the switch on the back and tell it, what is that? Digital versus Switch. I guess that's what D stands for. You just tell it Switch, and boom, the Nintendo Switch will recognize this as a NSO controller, which is amazing, and it's got all the buttons for it. This is a fantastic controller. I think they really got it right on this one. Build quality as good as Modretro? No, but it's solid. I really wish the buttons were the right colors. Obviously, they released a gray one down the road, and I really wish they would release the right buttons for all the colors, but we'll see. But, Analog's got another thing going for it. I can use the real controller on the Analog 3D. And I don't mean like the real controller that you have for the real 64 with the worn out joysticks from 30 years ago. I mean like the current NSO controller I can buy brand new right now. This is 100% compatible with Analog, and I can have that 100% authentic Nintendo experience on the Analog using an official Nintendo controller, which is amazing. It doesn't get more real than that if you want wireless. Obviously, if you have a wired one, by all means, use that. But those controllers are aging. The joysticks are old. If you can replace it, fix it, by all means, do that. There's plenty of options now. But the controllers are, depending on who you go through, it's hit or miss. But what I want at the end of the day is I want both these consoles to succeed. I want I want Modretro to keep updating this thing. And the reason why is if Modretro keeps updating this thing, then it's going to push Analog to keep updating this thing. And if Analog keeps updating this, it's going to push Modretro to keep making this better. We want these guys to succeed and to keep fighting to make them better. And if we say this console's perfect, there's nothing wrong with it, and it's a 10 out of 10, like I've seen a lot of reviewers online do, and a lot of websites say, then that's where the company stops and says, okay, we have a home run. Let's leave it, and we're done. If we're honest with ourselves and say, hey, it's good, but it could be better, just like that one dude from Wonder Woman, then that's where we say, hey, make it better. You're going to sell more of these because now that these are out in the open and there's a lot of comparison videos showing up out there. If you haven't seen them, you can check them out mine. I've got a few out there. We can really start voicing our comments and concerns, because if we don't, they're not going to improve. If we don't call this out for not having as good of picture quality as Analog or even a real 64, it's not going to get better. I 100% believe this will get better. It's got the hardware to do it. I think it was one of those situations where they had to get it out to market, and they were running out of time before basically people were just going to give up or just buy more Analog. I have to give M64 some credit here, and this is something they are very good at. They've been very transparent about versus Analog, who made a lot of people mad and cost them probably $250, 250 plus extra dollars they didn't have to spend. Modretro was very upfront about the colors on this thing. Except maybe the GameStop exclusive color. I don't remember that one being announced until the day of. But that was an exclusive one. I could be wrong about that one. If someone is aware of that one, let me know. But cool thing about this, look on the back here. You see these screws? Not only are they the same screws as the real Nintendo 64, you can easily take this apart and change the shell out with another color. And Modretro apparently is going to sell different colors of this. So if you want to change the color of your M64 to a different color, you're going to be able to. So hoping that Modretro eventually sells this color, I will buy one. Modretro, take the hint. I will absolutely buy one. What Analog did, I feel, is kind of shady. They were a lot more private, not talking about it, and basically it was what? A post on Twitter and Facebook. The next generation of Nintendo 64's I forgot what it said. Anyway, they showed like the black and white console, and GoldenEye was in there, and we had like no response for like what, almost a year. But you could like reserve it at some point. So I reserved one. I was ready. I reserved it. What was it? $250. Reserved it. Waited. No response for the longest time, and then finally it was shipping. I got my black one. It's in the bedroom. And then I love that thing. That thing was great. I was playing lots of games on there with a lot of my friends. It was great. And then what? 2 weeks later, they announced the Fantastic colors, and they were more expensive. And like, there's no way they didn't know they were coming. 2, you're going to tell me they couldn't send us an email, the people who backed and gave them the money up front, that, hey, thank you for backing our project. By the way, here's some early access. We're going to give you the option to swap out your black or white system for a Fantastic model and give you the discount price. That way you can get first dibs and the discount price for a really cool color instead of being stuck. No, they didn't do any of that. They just flat out sold you the white and black one, and then 2 weeks later announced the Fantastic colors. Made you do the whole get online at 10 a.m. crap, hope to get one, spend more money, double dip, which I did, unfortunately, and then get one. And no, I didn't sell it to make a profit or sell it on eBay. I kept it because I like 64, but like that was really crappy of Analog, so it's not like, Analog's perfect and Modretro is just, putting out a bad system, which they're not. Like, Analog has been real quiet about everything and just like shadow drop stuff. They've been good about updates. I will give them that. They, every 2 or 3 weeks there's an update. I don't know what M64's update schedule is going to be like yet. There was just the initial day 1 update and nothing else yet. But again, I've only had mine 9 days, so who knows. But I can tell you, less than a year out, the Analog 3D is a better system now than it was in November. That's right. I got my black one in November, and then they were promising these before Christmas. That's how quick they announced them. But yeah, back to the M64. Bottom line is, getting a Nintendo 64 should be fun and stress-free. And if you have an original system, I think it's cool if you have the skills to solder it, add an HDMI port right on the board, do an RGB mod. But there's also something very cool about keeping it stock and original and just throwing like an adapter on the back that does a pretty good job of making it look better. And then having the option to buy like a M64 or an Analog 3D, or buying both. Why am I hearing something? We live in a pretty cool time now where we have options, and being able to play these classic games with, newer generation of kids, because like all they know now is honestly tablets games. Yeah, we have Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox now, but like kids these days like their phones, their tablets, and all that crap. And our generation and in between, like, yeah, we like our video games, but like they love their tablets. And once you get them onto the game system, it's really, it's cool if you get to play it with them and enjoy that time with them, play the classics with them. Will we get another Nintendo 64 besides these two? Maybe. I think Nintendo and Sony are missing a huge market by not re-releasing their old systems. Yeah, I get it. They want to sell you a subscription and drip you games, once a quarter, instead of just, making their systems backwards compatible. Like, PlayStation 5, there's no reason why it shouldn't play every single PS1 and 2 game right now. 3, that's an argument for another time, It would be emulation, but I mean, it would all be emulation, but whatever. Nintendo, yeah, they could do a USB cartridge adapter. I have one for PC. It's how I rip my own games. But my point is, enjoy the systems. Enjoy the one you have. If you can get one of these, regardless whether it's analog or M64, get the one you can get, but don't settle on one just because it's the one you can get or the color you can get. At the time you were ready to make a purchase, get the system that's better for you. Get the system that's going to be great for your game collecting or great for just the game you want to play. Don't give in to scalpers on eBay and pay extra for a specific color or a specific type. You can buy these right now, brand new, on both websites. Unfortunately, you can't get these colors right now from Analog. Will they bring them back out? Who knows? They'll just drop them tomorrow and not tell anyone. M64, these are going to be readily available for the foreseeable future. I know 2 colors, last time I checked, were out of stock, but they'll bring them back out. Anyway, I invite any of you at any time, please, by all means, leave a comment. Ask a question anytime. I'm going to try to get more videos comparing them as I have time to post them and get all that out. I'll try to get questions answered as I have time. And as this guy gets more updates, I'll be updating videos as I can and do more full screen specific videos for the M64 to show, any improvements that happen. As soon as I can play Rush 2049 on this thing, I'm doing it because that's one of my favorite games and I'm playing it. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I got. Like, it's a good system. It could definitely be better. It needs work. I'm definitely confident they're going to make it better. The Analog 64 is a good system. It could also be better. I think they're going to make it better. As of right now, August 2026, the Analog's the best system of the two. How will that look in 4 months? How will that look like a year from now? Who knows? But yeah, that's really all I got. If you guys have questions, like I said earlier, please drop me a comment. If you like this, if you want more content like this, more just open discussion on this, I got plenty of good and bad to say on all the guys. Don't get me started on Xbox and PlayStation right now. There's plenty to say on those two. All right. That's all I got. Have a good one, guys.